Hi everybody, and welcome everybody. Bolshe great yar blocks to thee and thine. And we've got a new reprobate on board, who is Ryan, aka Philly Stein. I think there's a pun there, but it's too complicated for me to get.
Sorry, off the back of the last joke we just had, I'm not going to take
Yeah, sorry, Stuart told a really appalling joke to set the mood just before we went live, and it was beyond the pale. It really
shocking.
was.
Yeah, it was shocking. Get demonetized for that one.
So if I can introduce you, Ryan, and then you correct anything I've got wrong. Basically, Ryan lives not too far from me in North Wales. He stalked me for a bit, plied me with drinks, got some compromat, and then blackmailed us to come on the live stream. So is that about right?
Pretty much sums us up, yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah. So do you want to introduce yourself? How long have you been out of prison, things like that?
Yeah, so Paul is actually my he's my support worker. So yeah, I got released.
I've got a full caseload with James and Stuart.
Thought it was the other way around.
I escaped the basement. I don't know what you're talking about.
I wasn't going to mention that. I've only snapped myself, so yeah.
Anyway, is there anything you want to get off your chest about yourself, Ryan? This is like a therapy group.
Not especially, no. I don't,
is there anything about you that people should know?
Probably just to disregard everything I'm going to say in the next stream. So yeah, I don't have a channel or anything like that.
Rest of us then, really.
I might do one in the future, but yeah.
Right, your main qualification was badgering me on my channel, so
yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. And then you bought me a Guinness.
Autistically writing in the chat. Actually, I think this, or what about that kind of vibe? Yeah.
Right. Well, this is going to be. Yeah, this is going to be a very unusual. Everyone knows James and Stuart by now, so hello, you two.
Hello.
Hello. It's going to be a very unusual stream in the sense that you know how I like to be miserable and cantankerous and always pick holes, and I actually think in the history of adaptations, this is probably my favourite example of an adaptation into cinema that is arguably better than the original novel. I think cinematically, and I'm not the film nerd that James especially, and Stuart's very nerdy about most things. I can't speak for what Ryan will think, but I'm not a great film nerd. I think I've got PTSD from actually teaching cinema back in the day. But I think, from my limited cinematic viewpoint, I think Kubrick in this particular film, I think it's a masterpiece. I think it's absolutely stunning. And when I hadn't seen it for years, and I went to it fully expecting to find it dated, tired, too pretentious, and I was shocked at how visually spectacular it looked on what was relatively a minuscule budget. And we can talk about it later, but I just thought the adaptation, I've read the novel twice recently, and there's no point at which I thought I wish he'd included this in the film. I think every major aspect and more is in the film itself. So on that note, does any of one of you three want to say what a terrible film it is and what an even worse novel is?
I can't jump on that bandwagon, mate. I think I'm with you firmly.
Yeah, I don't know about like the not including certain parts, though. I think it's one of them, like every film nerd's going to say, oh, well, should they put this in? Should they not have included that or whatever? But I think that, so one of the things that was going to be included was that at the beginning, when they leave the Moloko bar, in the book, they stumble into some kind of nerd. It's a teacher and he's on his way back from some school.
Yeah, it's like a librarian or a teacher, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, and he gets filled in, and they had a guy for the part.
He gets one in the yarbles.
Yeah, he gets smashed in the yarbles, and then there's a line that Malcolm McDowell said. He says, as he sort of shreds these books, these priceless works of art into pieces, he says, "There's a mackerel of cornflake for you there," which is it's quite apt for the character. But yeah. That I thought potentially would have added something to the film.
Well, wasn't from
memory,
wasn't there the guy who was actually supposed to play that role? I think he died, so I think you're being a bit mean expecting him to still perform. I might have got it wrong, but I think he was seriously ill at the time, so they couldn't use him to film, so they just went with other ways.
That sounds about
from
right.
what I've seen on the commentary, they chatted about how initially they'd filmed or they'd done one take, but it wasn't. He was due to come back in for another take, and
then he died.
didn't make it, and then he died.
Didn't Kubrick have something like four hours as a rough cut, and so they cut that down to 135-ish minutes. So he's left an awful lot out of what he shot. I mean, that's nothing new in Hollywood. That's what you do. But I mean, my thoughts straight off the bat with this one is I got into Burgess when I was a young man because I was really into Joy Division when I was growing up. So I was, blown away by
Love will tear us apart.
Exactly, I was blown into Love will tear us apart. No, I was fascinated.
That
by
was
Ian
for
Curtis.
Dolla's mum. She loves us when we sing.
So yeah,
Boom, boom, boom.
I always get cut off.
Sorry, dude.
No, anyway, so yeah, I mean that's how I got into it. Like JG Ballard and Burgess, and so I haven't, like I say, I haven't read the novel. I'm sure Paul will give me grief, but I haven't read the novel in a long time, and I know that was a bone for contention with you when I said I just don't have time to read it, Paul, and you were like, wah. Like
No, to be fair to the people that are listening, can I put it in context? You came out with some bilge about you've got children that you haven't got time for or something. You did. You used the excuse of children. Stuart has a child, and he does the decent thing. He locks him in a dark room with a tin of Spam, and he reads what he has to read. And
that's
you
why
should do that.
I didn't bring my kid up because that's what I do. You got the names wrong. Anyway, so I haven't read Clockwork Orange in a long time, but I remember it having a profound effect on me when I did read it. And I'm a huge Kubrick fan, so I'm comfortable saying I'm more au fait with the film rather than the book. But it is, like we've already said, an absolute cult classic. It's probably the finest example of one of the finest directors and artists that's ever kind of graced us with their work on the silver screen. Scorsese called it, if I remember correctly, the first punk rock film ever made, and that kind of aesthetic is probably quite an apt one. Obviously, it features McDowell in probably his most iconic role, that probably paired on par with If, to his most recognizable roles. It's a phenomenal story. It's got far-reaching comments on the nature of man. Can our basic instincts be tamed? Should science be allowed to just conquer and control free will? That kind of thing. I think it's going to be a fun chat, and I'm looking forward to this one because it's one of my favourite stories and one of my favourite.
Could I just immediately pull you up because I let you talk? Then I didn't interrupt. I'm now handing that role over to Ryan, has given the role of interrupting you. You mentioned Scorsese as some type of authority. Can I please point out that he has lost all authority to speak about anything, given that he was involved in the remake of Cape Fear, the TV series, which I was forced to watch. And honestly, I've watched YouTube videos of fat Americans falling over their doorsteps that had more artistic credibility than Cape Fear, the TV remake. It is it's beyond atrocious, and Scorsese put his name to that. So shame on you, shame on you, Scorsese.
Shame on me for bringing it up as well, then, because I do think you can't disregard Scorsese as one of the most finest sort of adventure film producers. So take that, take.
P-Pants J in Texas in the comments is saying there was a TV Cape Fear. I honestly don't think in his compound in Waco, Texas, P-Pants ever gets. He never knows what's on TV.
He's got stolen cable like every good American.
But there's no channels on it. He never knows. TV Cape Fear, yeah, I've forgotten the name of, is it Javier Bardem or something is the actor.
Yeah. He's like Zendaya. He's like in everything at the moment, isn't he? He's like the flavour of the moment.
Well, he actually carries it for so long, and then even he implodes under the crass stupidity. Talk about jump the shark. It's awful. It's atrocious. I think James will watch it and love it.
I'll give it a go.
Yeah.
I'll give it a go. I love Cape Fear. Cape Fear is one of my favourite films. It's brilliant.
Right, Stuart, you haven't said a lot.
I like, it was one of the first films I bought when I first started getting into film collecting in the late 90s. So I was about 15, 16, just finishing my GCSEs. And I got a VHS player, and I think it was one of the first tapes that I bought because my cousin, our older cousin's about 7 years older, and he's bit of a punk musician, and he used to always have this Clockwork Orange T-shirt. And this was still the time when it was banned in the UK. Like it wasn't banned. Let me get this correct.
He withdrew it, didn't he?
Asked for it to withdraw. Yeah, 1973. Asked for it to withdraw because he was getting death threats or something like that. And it wasn't. I think there was a couple of cinema clubs which like show, illicit showings of it, but it wasn't. I think it got caught up in the 1984 Video Nasty Mary Whitehouse thing, so it didn't get a BBFC rating, so it couldn't legally be released on video. You could get pirate copies of it. I'm sure things did the rounds, but
I thought it did get a rating.
It got a rating. I think it got a rating for the
18,
cinema. Yeah, it got X rating for the cinema. But then
Ryan, welcome to Nerd Debate on YouTube. This is what happens every time. I think it did get a rating in 1974.
No, it didn't. But anyway, I think it was in about 2000. It got released on VHS and DVD, and there was adverts. I used to watch late night TV. I was a bit of an insomniac when I was a teenager. I used to watch late night TV on Channel 4 Later. If anyone remembers it,
yeah.
And there was these bonkers TV spots where it was just a very fast cut with and it was all these kind of random images and stuff. And I was like, oh, my cousin has the T-shirt of that film. I'll get that. So I got the VHS tape. And the widescreen version, I was just like, oh my God, this is an absolute classic. So to this day, I watched it 2 days ago. Again, it must be about the 50th time I watched it just for the live stream. And I was just, this has aged so well. I read the book a couple of years later, and I agree with you, Paul. The book is good, but it's not the film. The film is it's just got this absolutely bonkers energy. Insane energy that you just really don't find nowadays. On top of that, the icing on the cake is Kubrick's absolutely delectable cinematography, camera work, shots. It absolute.
Sorry to interrupt you. Did you just say delectable?
Delectable, yeah.
I'm assuming from that you shave your chest and legs.
I certainly do.
That is the most metrosexual word I think I've heard in the last year. Congratulations.
He's on one tonight, isn't he?
Thank you. Cool. Yeah, I've just had the shave before the podcast, actually. Just
what makes you more aerodynamic?
It certainly does.
It's for his cycling.
Streamline.
It's for his cycling.
But yeah, it's a delectable movie. It's delicious, darling. Absolutely delicious.
Yeah, I see Ryan didn't bother to have a shave. No.
I mean...
Playing it safe,
I'm not going to take that from you because you've been on about having a haircut for the last month and it still hasn't facilitated. I mean, there's loads of sheep shearers about. Like, how call one of them over? Excuse me, sir. Yeah, sorry. Anyway, Stu, go on.
No, I've finished. Keep going.
Just keep going. Yeah.
Just keep going. I'm loving it. As he told you about the bird's nest in his hair.
I've got like really waxy ears, so I didn't hear most of the insults then. So that's quite good. It's like a self-protective mechanism. I'm like one of Odysseus' oarsmen. I'm going to drag this back to Christopher Nolan at some point, just because Jay is in the chat and he loves me talking about Christopher Nolan.
No, to be fair, when you mention Christopher Nolan, you instantly get over 2,000. So, James, are you drinking mustard?
Yeah.
Just. It looks like a mustard,
really
like one of those
giant industrial-sized mustard.
Frank's, that's Frank's mustard.
It is. Holy shit.
Yeah, I just got
that is something weird, America, the most powerful nation on earth, and it's never really, Coleman's English mustard has never taken off.
Too spicy, wasabi, yeah.
They have this weak, lily-livered, hot dog mustard. Shame on you, America.
Yes. Here.
Anyway.
To derail this one even further.
Yeah. Please do.
Well, I'll try and get it back on track. I would say that, yes, I think you're right. I think that the film is better than the book, but also that's not the first time that Kubrick did that, because The Shining is an infinitely better film than it is book. Yeah. But it's an infinitely better film than book. So, yeah.
What about 2001, James? What do you think? Do you think 2001's better than the book? Arthur C. Clarke.
I honestly don't think I've read that one. I must have done at some point.
Can I just correct? Sorry, I'm going to have an argument with P-Pants now. First of all, yes, I do name drop Christopher Nolan because about 4 people and a hamster watch my channel. The minute I mention Christopher Nolan, I get exponentially more. So Nolan's in every title for the next 5 years. Secondly, we got Coleman mustard. If you paid close attention, Jay, which I know isn't your forte, I actually said it's never taken off in the States. So I know you've got it, but you don't have the taste to enjoy it. Anyway, sorry, I interrupted you yet again, James.
Well, I had finished, but I will.
Oh, you
carry
had,
on.
right. So I didn't interrupt you then. I'm going to
No,
ban
but
myself
I'm gonna
off my own
interrupt you.
channel.
I'm going to interrupt you now. And I'm going to say,
kick him off.
Also, yeah, bugger off. Also,
I think I can kick him off, James. Should I just
go
kick
on,
him
do
off?
it. Kick him out now. Kick him out. We'll just carry on. It'll be fine. Ryan, you'll be all right. Won't you? You just take Ryan. You just lead the channel, and we'll just carry on. No, the aesthetic side as well. Yes, Clockwork Orange looks like it was shot yesterday, and just like every other Kubrick film. What is it? Past the Glory, which is a black and white film. Feels like it was shot yesterday as well.
Kirk Douglas.
Yes. So like literally that.
Well, is that a film about ravioli?
Yeah. No. What I'm saying is that is like a Kubrick aesthetic. It's just timeless. It's the same thing with 2001 is just a weird film with weird elements, sci-fi elements, but it feels like it was shot yesterday. Same thing with Full Metal Jacket. God, I can't believe I blanked on Full Metal Jacket. It looks like it was shot yesterday. These films are timeless, and that's the Kubrick effect, isn't it?
Can I just say hello to Fresh Toast, because he tends to put capital letters, say "look at me," in the comments. So we all need to say hello to Fresh Toast.
Hello, Fresh Toast. How you doing?
And just to let you know, Fresh Toast, I'm actually on Sunday. I hope to upload a video that, and this is for Jay as well, because it's got nothing to do with Christopher Nolan, but it's about the me generation. Look at me, look at me. And the main theme that runs throughout it, it's an essay written by Tom Wolfe in 1976, but he compares, his whole focus is upon the cathartic release of a woman talking about a hemorrhoid and comparing it to a peanut. So that will be my first video about the link between peanuts and hemorrhoids. So for those that you who will find that interesting.
Peanut!
Shooting stars. Man. Oh, every time I come in here, I'm reminded of something from like 20 or 30 years ago, and then I can't forget it for the next month.
If I ever feel depressed, I just put that video on, and I'm instantly on the phone.
Oh, there's an even better one though.
So many.
Thank me, baked potato. Have you seen that one? Oh my days.
Oh, George Stores. Wow.
Oh, I gotta love
Back
George
to the
Stores. The
90s,
man with
aren't
the
we?
scores.
Right, can we get back on topic, please?
Hey, you
This
took
is
it off.
disgraceful.
What are you doing next
Shooting
week,
stars.
Paul? Are you going to the beach anytime soon? Can we come along? Should we live stream it?
He's going to Pontins for a dirty weekend.
Let's get on.
The last time I went to the beach, I was followed with a one-legged man with a harpoon. So no, I won't be going to the beach anytime soon.
Sounds pretty fit, to be fair.
Right, come on, Ryan.
If I can bring it back to the topic, so like,
Please do, Ryan.
Please do, Ryan.
Save us from this.
Allow me to respectfully disagree. I think that one of the things with a great film is you can kind of suspend your reality with it, and it's kind of like in many ways the opposite of the Odyssey, which has just got the full benefit of modern technology kind of spaffed all over it. If you want to lower the tone a little bit, but
I don't think you have.
Like when I watched it again, like,
It'll get lower, mate.
bar.
It's going to get lower now.
Yeah.
But like the sound for the Clockwork Orange was all done on these little wee microphones, and again, some of the things, if you nitpicking, like there's like red paint which doesn't look realistic when Alex is in the sort of the interrogation cell with the police just after he's been arrested, and it has dated, but I think that the certain power of some films is such that it can captivate your imagination so much that it doesn't really matter about the extent to which you've got all the bells and whistles.
Ryan, sorry to interrupt you, but
Go ahead.
when you noticed the red didn't quite match or wasn't quite appropriate, was that discussed at Autistics Anonymous at a monthly meeting?
It was at the top of the agenda.
That one. I think that kind of adds to it again. It's that whole
the red paint from the Shaw Brothers kung fu films. There's so much blood in those films that they had, like, because of all those big industrial tanks in the back lot. And because there's some, you see some of the old, like, Chop Socky ones, and there's just like all this red paint going everywhere. And that's I noticed that, Ryan. It's the first thing I went in that interrogation cell when you see that red blood. I was like, I'm sure they borrowed some of that from Shaw Brothers films.
But then
Right.
what about that gauze on his face?
For the
That's
wardrobe
Dracula's
department as well.
Stuart, talking about kung fu movies, can you please deliberately lag your voice and your lip movements? Because Fresh Toast is saying there's a lag on the video on his end.
Okay.
What?
I was asking you. I was asking you to lag your lip movements, not just sit there like you're in a coma.
I can do the freeze.
Okay.
No,
Anyway.
Is it deliberate or not? It's just really good at that. Amazing.
I'm like a ninja.
So sorry, Ryan. I interrupted you when you were giving us this aesthetically crucial insight into the red paint not looking quite right.
Yeah, just like a few different bits like that. I mean, the costumes are kind of extreme as well. Like, yeah, you'd wear a mask, but would you wear one that's quite as phallic as Alex does?
Dildo
Maybe
mask,
you would,
yeah.
maybe you wouldn't. Maybe it's for particular.
Oh no, I'm sorry. I need to
activities
push
you're
back on that, Ryan. I thought that was a touch of genius because
Yeah.
it added to the surreal quality.
Yeah, the horror to it. Yeah, I get that.
Yeah,
but
the
it's like, what I'm
carnivalesque,
saying
like
is,
grotesque.
Yeah.
It's
and it's
kind
the
of-
whole codpiece on the outside. What's that all about?
That was,
Yeah,
you
yeah,
know,
I think
the
what's
true story about that was Malcolm
do.
McDowell. Yeah, he was with, he had his cricket gear in the car and he was talking to Kubrick one weekend.
Right.
And Americans, for Americans, cricket is basically baseball for adults. It's complicated, it's subtle.
Older adults, geriatric adults.
Hey, I
And you-
love cricket.
I know, and you don't just stuff your face in a 9 innings, sit down,
No,
weird
you get
sport.
absolutely smashed over a whole day. It's brilliant.
But anyway, you're interrupted, Ryan, yet again. Sorry.
See, this is me normally, Ryan. Honestly, I'm sat there and I'm just trying to make a nice little point, and I can't believe I've got this far without being interrupted already. I'm going to graciously give you the floor.
Eat your mustard or drink your mustard. Yeah, no, I think that there's certain aspects of it that look dated, but I mean, ultimately the point was that you can kind of suspend your reality for things like that. Whereas like a lot of like modern day things, you think about like the Star Wars like franchise and stuff, that's got like, or the Lord of the Rings like Abomination on Amazon. These have got like absolute, they've got endless resources at their capability at their hands, and they're not capable of captivating you like Kubrick was. And I think that goes back to what Stuart was talking about with like some of the concepts that Kubrick had, and it's down to him having that experience as a cameraman, which is why like a lot of the shots that he takes are from a single like set of light. One of the images that I always think is great about this is where Alex is reading the Bible, whilst the sort of the priest is circling him to make sure he's being a good boy, and he's looking up and it's quite dimly lit but soft in the background, and you've got these rays of light coming in through these little tiny windows, and you're thinking, right, he's contemplating about spirituality and correcting his orange, if you want to call it. And then it cuts to him sort of killing Jesus or like fighting some Maccabees or doing whatever it is.
Told
and
shocking Jesus, yeah.
Yeah, and it's
Jesus.
and then he's got his he managed to
The
get
red,
some
red
devotioners into that bit as well. So it's
Bit of the old
just
in out,
endlessly
in out.
fascinating how he
Yeah,
does
yeah.
that. So yeah.
Yeah,
The
it's
old
interesting you
ultra
talk about
wide.
that because Kubrick was obsessed with wide-angle lenses. So he basically went out and found as many weird, like unique lenses as he could to get these bizarre shots. And some of the shots are just so wide, it's just everything in. It's almost like a stage shot. And it's a bit like towards the end when they're doing the demonstration to show the Ludovico technique works, and it becomes almost like thespian, kind of Shakespearean. He's on the stage and the actor comes out and basically tries to beat him up, and Malcolm McDowell doesn't respond, and then the Devotchka comes out, where with everything on show, and it's just the way that scene's lit, and it's like we're watching him on the stage with this very wide angle lens. for us all to take in. It just has aged so well because it's so bizarre and weird. It's not that overly processed cinema that we get nowadays, you know, like Nolan-esque Marvel green screen rubbish. It's intentionally off. It's intentionally not quite right. And
That
it really
quality
feels
as
it.
well, what you're talking about, that is timeless. Whereas, like,
Yeah.
when you
Exactly.
watch something that's got loads of CGI in it, it just looks completely ridiculous.
It's
Whilst
flat.
there's
Yeah.
a ridiculous quality to the Droog's outfit, but it still looks kitsch. It's great. It's
Can I back
something
it
you
up
wanna
with
be a part of.
two related points? But one is the balletic fight scene where he whacks him in the
Garbles.
yarbles, and they go into the lake, the artificial lake. That is done in slow motion, and it's beautifully done.
Yeah.
That is actually A, it's cinematically done brilliantly, but B, it's actually better than the fight scene described in the book, which is a specific example of how he adapts what's in the book, but actually improves upon it.
With visual art, yeah. It's
And
it's
if I
interesting you
could,
mentioned the
go
fight.
back to autistic thing, I'm just going to interrupt you now, but just a point of difference there. It's actually shot in the Thames, so like the guy that plays Dim and Georgie, when they get knocked into it, they have to wear like not scuba gear but wet suits underneath, and there's this whole thing about it's freezing because it's in like the winter that they're filming it. And as
I
they
thought
go
it was a
in,
London
obviously
housing
gas-
estate. It was like
no,
a.
it's in the well, it is, but it's by the Thames.
I
And
was
so
like in
they-
the Thames just to be ultra. If you're going to be nerdy, get your
He
come
does
on,
go in the Thames.
get your
They-
factoids.
he
dives
knocks him
him
in
in,
the
doesn't
Thames.
Yeah, he goes in the
cracks him in the arbles and knocks him in the Thames. So he's
It's an
got to wear
artificial
the
lake,
suit
isn't it? It's
underneath.
not the Thames.
No, it's the Thames.
No,
I think
it's
it's
the
the Thames.
Thames.
It's Thamesmead. I think the housing estate that they filmed it on was the Thamesmead housing estate.
Yeah, but that looks a weirdly rectangular river to me.
Oh, it's really high tide, isn't it? I can't remember.
So at high tide, rivers become rectangular.
No, it's just like high
changed
flowing,
the
and
shape.
it's yeah.
No, I'm not having that.
I can't remember them. It was bloody ages ago. I saw the story about that.
I'm going to be extra nerdy and I'm going to go and find it on Google Maps now
Do it.
and then
But I'm pretty
take a
certain
screenshot.
I'm pretty certain it was it's the Thames, which naturally goes that high, and it was
It is.
overflowing.
Well,
Or maybe I'm
alleged-
talking about Full Metal Jacket, because that was shot not too far away.
I've seen the
away from
commentary with McDowell and a film historian, and they refer to it as the Thames. So maybe it's not, but because he
Right.
does get a couple of things wrong when he's talking as well. Like he thinks that he's filming in I don't know some year, and like this is McDowell, but it's not. It's a particular year that he gets wrong when he's discussing it. But you know,
That going back to your aesthetics, though, I mean, I used to do a lot of work with film students, and they all go on about how they love Kubrick, and then when you set them the task of actually watching it, they do find it incredibly jarring and incredibly difficult to watch. And I think it's because many of them are used to that aesthetic that we mentioned earlier about that sort of modern Hollywood where everything's smooth edged and everything's like, come along with me on a nice little story and we'll sit down together. And you know, Kubrick is not that. He's intentionally not doing that. I wanted to just ask, because obviously the UK version of the novel does have a final chapter that is not adapted by Kubrick, because he focused more on the US version of the novel, didn't he?
He got
Also-
the last chapter. Yeah, it's actually one of the only times I think where a US publisher has made the right decision by
Yeah.
taking out the final goody chapter. But I think Burgess hated it because Burgess was a practicing Catholic, and he said, "No, we need the redemption chapter." Because
Well,
that's
to
the whole
be
point.
fair to Burgess, he went on record as saying he was ambivalent, and he genuinely wasn't sure if it was better with or without.
Yeah.
And it's complicated because I get the sense that what I read was that initially he thought Kubrick's film was a masterpiece. Then he and Malcolm McDowell did a tour of the States promoting the film, and the deal he signed, he got relatively little out of it, having the adaptation made. So he found himself in a situation where he's doing endless discussions of the film, despite not getting a lot of money, and he soured towards it a bit. So then he started making more negative comments. But so that strikes me as realistic. I also think that I'm just playing devil's advocate now, because someone in the comments on my channel, I can't remember who it was, made the interesting point that they read a bit more darkness into the so-called happy ending version. by thinking that one of the interpretations might be that anybody you meet in normal life is actually an Alex under the surface. And in that sense, it's quite dark and foreboding. I don't particularly agree with that. I think that's searching a bit, stretching. I actually think it's immensely better when you take out the epilogue.
Burgess intended for you to read it, and when you read the text, which is written in a sort of Nadstat and which is the vernacular they use, it's a splicing of Cockney rhyming slang, and it's Russian, as you probably discussed on the channel. Quite ironic from a guy from Harper A, which is in Manchester, writing about Cockney accents and vernacular and whatnot. But what it is that when Burgess was doing that, his wife was he was quite ill, and he'd been told he had like a year to live, and in effect he kind of, the publisher said, I want to do this 20, because they have this thing and it's called arithmethology or something like that, where like he had like a particular meaning, so it was like 3 parts, 7 chapters, which leads to 21, which is coming of age in Britain and in America. So that was quite poignant, because his writing was designed to give Alex an arc to the extent where he comes to realise what right and wrong is, and like sort of become the orange and not the Clockwork orange, the Clockwork made orange rather. And yeah, I've sort of lost my thread now. But
well, Ryan, while you think of your thread, could I just correct you slightly? Coming of age in the deep south of America, so Alabama, and where Jay lives in Texas, is probably about 12 and a half, 13. So you're not quite right about 21.
Well, speaking of that, coming of age then. So there are differences in the film, obviously, to the book.
Sorry to interrupt. Can we just do this, James?
Clearly, Paul's right.
Yay! How often do you hear that? Not often. Right. Not often on this channel.
There's the River Thames, and there's Binsey Walk, I think it's called. So yeah, Paul is right.
And the person, can I just read out Philistine in the chat, without any tone of smugness whatsoever? Philistine said, and I believe this would be his proper accent, I used to live in Thamesmead, Gavna. The film was filmed by Southmere Lake, hence the angular look of the water. Governor.
Well, there you are.
There we go.
Tuppence farthings.
Consider me educated. Well, the point was that I think I made in the lobby before we came on was about like the mask. Initially, they were supposed to be given in the book. They're given meaning. So Alex has Benjamin Disraeli, who's former British Prime Minister. Then you have Georgie, who's Henry VIII, which is somewhat ironic, but they're all meant to be ironic. And then you have Dim, who was J.B. Priestley. The irony there should be quite obvious, although I think Dim's quite underappreciated because he does get the better of Alex. But anyway, that's a different tangent. But Pete is Elvis, and the idea of this was that Burgess felt that Elvis would be a flash in the pan against other prominent musicians of the time. And in the book, he appears... Nice. See what you did there. And in the book, Pete is in a bar with his wife, and this is the sort of the defining moment where Alex kind of snaps out of it, or into what he should do, and kind of completes his arc, which I think would have been better in the film rather than the sort of the scene with the politician feeding Alex his steak and eggs or whatever it was. But yeah, that was just a point that I thought it could have been improved, in my opinion anyway, had it been improved, it included at the end. But again, like, Burgess was strapped for time, and he wanted to provide like money for his wife because he thought he was going to snuff it, and ultimately just published the thing.
Yeah, because he was misdiagnosed, wasn't he? He was in Malaysia, and they misdiagnosed him for having a brain tumour. They did a spinal tap and said, yes, you do. And then he never died.
Yeah, no, I'd want compensation for that.
Well, no, in the NHS, they probably said you're lucky to get an appointment.
Yeah, true.
even if we misdiagnosed you. So, get back in your lane. How dare you expect good medical treatment in the UK? I've got a chip on my shoulder about that, haven't I? But it is awful.
Well, the NHS.
Yeah.
Was
We've
it
all
the
got horror
NHS?
stories.
Was that post-war, wasn't it? So the NHS would have been...
1940.
Was it
7?
40? Yeah, 47 or 48, I think it was. Probably, yeah. So it would have been, at that time, he had the news about his brain tumour. What about this story about his wife that I read, that she was assaulted? I think there was a rumour that she was raped. I don't think she was assaulted in that way, but I think...
Oh,
she was
American
assaulted-
soldiers, yeah. They robbed her, yeah.
absconded GIs or something, and they'd gone AWOL and they'd robbed her, and she had a miscarriage or something like that. And I think that gave him that was lodged in his mind. He's in some interviews he's done with the BBC around this, I think this in the 70s or kind of late 70s, and he said, yeah, obviously that was a big influence, and then also the Teddy Boys as well in the 50s, because all the moral panic with like the mods and rockers as well. I think, was it the Battle of Brighton Beach? That was that after the book was published. I believe that was 1964, Battle of Brighton Beach, the mods versus rockers. But in the 50s and early 60s, there was also the Teddy Boys and this kind of moral panic. I mean, this moral panic's never gone away really about youth movements. You had Chavs, now it's like Road Men.
Stuart, would you be a mod or a Teddy boy?
I think a Teddy Boy. I quite like the old buffonas, you know.
Yeah. I've got James down for a rocker. You'd
I
have
was
to
a bit
wear
of
a
a mod
wig,
when I was younger.
but were
I
you?
was a bit, yeah. I used to have the old dovetail parkers and all that. Yeah, I used to love it.
Ryan's a rocker, surely.
I'll go on the other side.
Yeah, yours.
Yeah, we need equal numbers.
Yeah.
Big great block of yarbles to you.
I thought you were saying live long and prosper. Have I misread the hand sign?
Yeah, I think that's
There we go.
that, isn't it?
Yeah.
This has gone nerdy.
Well, it's always going to happen with James and Stuart, and you've lent into it, Ryan. So shame on you.
true.
Yeah.
Don't feed the nerds.
Could I raise the issue of, I think, Malcolm McDowell's performance? It reminds me of, I always like to think of, if you think of programs like, TV programs like The Sopranos with James Gandolfini, or Breaking Bad with Bryan Cranston, it's always a test if you think, who could have played the part better, or can you imagine anybody else playing the part? And having seen the film a few times now, I cannot think of a single actor who would have done a better job. He's so stunningly suited for the role.
He is, yeah, he does a great job.
People like Jack Nicholson, who's great, but like he's basically just Jack Nicholson in everything he does, and there's
but
like a
he's
star
great.
quality to him.
You said it yourself.
Yeah, I'm not
great.
criticising. He's great.
Jack
he
Nicholson's
is great.
Jack
However, like Malcolm McDowell, just what great actor. Like
Mick Jagger was going to play it, wasn't it? I mean, so I think
heard Tim Curry.
Andy Warhol made a version, but he changed it. He basically took the themes. I think it's called. I've got it down. Vinyl, 1965. Andy Warhol. So he took the themes of Burgess. He took the themes of the novel, and just did his own black and white version of it. But after that came out, there was some talk that it was going to be the Rolling Stones were going to be in it. So the Rolling Stones were going to be the Droogs. So obviously they were like massively popular at the time with the swinging 60s, and it just fell through. And I think that would have been an absolute travesty if it had got made with the Rolling Stones. I think the Beatles were like earmarked at one point as well, so it was going to be more of a popular version. I think how it's turned out is like McDowell's version of Alex is exactly how I would envision it as I read the novel. I mean, obviously I watched the film first, but I tried to go into the book thinking, what comes to my mind, just let it come. But I kept going back to his performance, that initial opening shot of his face. He is the Nietzschean Übermensch. He is beyond good and evil. It's just fantastic that you truly believe. And I know he was in Caligula as well, and I think he's really good at the psychopath. He's really got that nailed to a T. The kind of, not just the face, not just what he does, not just the believability, but it's like the best psychopaths. It's like as in Norman Bates, and then you've also got American Psycho as well.
Hannibal.
Yeah, and people like that. It's that he has the charm. You know, it's like the Dracula myth. You know, the the sexuality. He has this, like, you would believe him that he was legitimately evil, and I just find it a fantastic performance.
Could I add to here at this point? Could I break the habit of this channel and introduce something serious? There's a Australian academic, Tim Temmie, which is a great name. It's Tim Temmie at 9 o'clock in the morning, and he reminded me, because I did a video and I was talking about I think when we were talking about Blood Meridian, and we were talking about the nature of evil. And Stuart, this is when you went really metrosexual, and I was defending Judge Holden, saying that he was given a bit of a bad rap, and he was a nice guy, really. But in Georges Bataille's book, Literature and Evil, he takes seriously this concept that literature can't exist, and it goes to your weird obsession with 120 days, Stuart, which you'll have to account for and self-flagellate and explain away. But this idea that the evil, like Judge Holden, there is something life-affirming, paradoxically, about the evil. Yeah. And it's also a rejoinder. I think it was Adorno said, no poetry is possible after Auschwitz, which is nonsense, given that I think what A Clockwork Orange shows better than anything I can think of is that the urge to commit evil and the urge to appreciate beautiful art are sometimes inextricably linked. So at various points in the book, it's made explicit. Blood flows almost in tune with the music. And Alex makes the association clear in his own head. And throughout the film, there's a brilliant use, because in the actual book, he uses many more pieces of music. But I think, again, it's Kubrick's brilliant adaptation. He focuses upon Beethoven's Ninth to give it a bit more unity, which you don't really need in the novel in the same way. And just because I've never liked Beethoven's Ninth, it reminds me of the European Union. And it's that type of brilliant use of it.
It's the juxtapositioning. Yeah, it's the whole film is filmed with modern art, classic music, a riff on classic music with Wendy Carlos's Moog synthesizer music. It just mixes it all together. And if you think of one example, you think of the fight scene with Billy Boy. He juxtaposes. I don't think it's Beethoven the track he uses.
Rossini, is it
Rossini, I think it is in that scene. Yeah. And he juxtaposes this completely over-the-top violent scene with like very joyous music, and I think that is the exact point, that fine art does have this element of violence to it, or it needs it. It needs that, like good needs evil. Mm-hmm. I think this goes back to like Saint Augustine and classic theologians. You cannot have good without evil. You need evil to position good against. You need that choice to be made. Otherwise, it's not a choice.
Well, two things. Yeah, I'd say two things. One is, at this point, I should state that this channel is sponsored by the Juxtaposing Corporation. So thanks for all those mentions, Stuart.
You're welcome.
Secondly, it goes back to the Book of Genesis, and it's not just that one complements the other. I think it relates to the theme of free will that's in the book and the film. It's without evil, we human beings are not fully human. We do not have free will because we don't get to choose whether we're good or bad. And in the novel, there's a beautiful sentence where he talks about no one questions the existence of good or why someone does something good. So the corollary is, why do we question evil? It's there because people enjoy doing it or they choose to do it. The minute, it's like the nanny state in the UK at the moment, the minute you forbid everyone doing anything that could possibly harm them or others, then you're not living in a free country. It's not this whole point about freedom. And I think the Americans are much more sensitive to that than the, battened down Brits at the moment. They actually have a constitution. They believe in freedom. Yes, it's a rhetorical, resort that they always go to. But I do think there are elements of what Burgess is writing about that I remember thinking at certain times, especially when the politicians introduced, and I'm not making a party political point, I'm saying all politicians, when you read about the politician who comes to visit him, you could think that's a guy from one of the major parties. Doesn't matter which one. That is the way politics is going.
He says that Yeah, Burgess says it in an interview. Quote from Burgess: "All politicians are straw men. All politicians are bad men, neutral men who deal with abstractions. They have no solutions. Answers must lie somewhere in the individual mind." And Burgess was very. I don't want to use the word right wing because right wing, I think, has got a very negative connotation nowadays. He was a conservative man, I think, in the best tradition of British conservatism. You know, the pre Margaret Thatcher, pre conservatism turned on its head. Burgess believed that you needed to make your own choices. The state has absolutely no place. So he was closer to a libertarian, or he was closer to someone like Waldo Emerson. He said the state should get out of the way. And you know, if you're evil, then you need to learn to be good by yourself. You know, nobody should tell you, nobody should force you. And he believed, obviously being a Catholic, practicing Roman Catholic, that God will ultimately find you and make you good. But you have to have that choice. It goes back to Augustine. The choice needs to be there. If that choice is taken away from you, you are forced to be good by an external force. You didn't come to God yourself. You didn't choose to be good yourself. Then that is not good. That is a falsification. And I think the prison chaplain, I don't know if this quote is from the book as well, but in the film, the prison chaplain says, "Goodness is something to be chosen. When a man cannot choose, he ceases to be a man." And I think it's such a
There's
powerful
something very
line.
that's either in the book or something very similar. I read earlier
Something
today.
similar
Yeah.
will be in there, yeah.
And it's all so funny because you mentioned the chaplain, but he's not portrayed as a particularly sympathetic character, and yet on the substantial issue you've just spoken about, he's presented as being right.
Yeah, I think he's presented initially. I think all the characters in the main characters in the film are presented as using force to get their own way. So the prison guard is this comedy, you know, Monty Python-esque, you know, shouting, ordering, you do this, you do that. Obviously the scientists, the Ludovico scientists, they're using science and instrumentality to force violence on Alex to change. The politician obviously has his own version, but the prison chaplain is interesting because you would think the prison chaplain is the most sympathetic character, but he gives the sermon at the start. You know, if you do not do this, you are going to go to hell. You know, your arse hairs are going to get burnt off over hot coals, and you know you're going to get pricked by Satan's trident until the end of time. He really gives this, and all the baddies laugh at him.
Stuart, that was actually the bit I enjoyed the most. Totally unironically. That's what's lacking. And Burgess did in interviews, he basically said that the Catholic Church, and don't even mention the Anglican Church, but the Catholic Church has become some big kumbaya, tambourine bashing liberal abomination. And that is what we need more of, reminders that most people will die lacerated with pain and burnt with brimstone in their private parts for all eternity. And until that message is put out there more often.
Singed yarble hair till the end of time.
Yes. And on that note, Ryan, would you like to now contribute again?
Yeah, sure. So,
yeah.
Go.
It's all about like the yarballs, basically.
It's better,
you talk about that, it gets me excited. No, I think what you're saying is it's really interesting from like the aesthetic point of view. So there's like the technical term for like the way in which the music's like deployed in the film's contrapuntal. So it's like done to like a joy, and the stuff that you hear is supposed to be in contrary to what you see on the actual screen. And I think there's a literary term, I think it's defamiliarization, and that again to go back to the Billy Boy fight, I think he says I vidded it like some kind of waltz, left 2-3 hook at left 2-3 at right 2-3 rook,
the dance of death kind of thing.
Yeah, and it sort of goes back to the point that we were making about like Malcolm McDowell and the character of Alex, and how he kind of gains your sympathy as an audience member, because he's got a certain jouissance to how he enacts with the sort of with life, which is it's a French terminology, but it's used for like an excessive desire and like pleasure in doing things which aren't great for you or particularly good for you. And Alex seems to somewhat innocently like let the better, like the worst aspects of him get the better of him, which is the whole point of that the author wanted to convey, which Kubrick does as well. You've got that real roller coaster, and it sort of speaks to the pace of the film. I think it was like I can't remember which James I think said before, the pace of the film it's like full throttle, very much kind of in keeping with that kind of jouissance, that kind of youthful aggression, that joie de vivre that you've got. It's entirely indulgent and for the destruction for the first half, and then the second half when he's in prison. I think that what it does is personifies a contemplative note and an eerie, anxious, like anxiety sort
The
of.
color palette changes as well. The color palette changes when he's out of prison at the start. It's very psychedelic, very brightly colored. And as soon as he gets into prison, you get like more grey tones,
Stuart,
more desaturation.
For viewers who are fans of Christopher Nolan, could you explain what a color palette is, please?
Gold.
Well, I
Gold and
think
black.
nowadays,
Basically,
yeah, I
have a
think
piss
color
or
grading, yeah,
puke all over the film stock, and there you go.
yeah. No, I think the first part of the film was definitely a bit Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds, like saturation, kind of coming out of the
But that-
'60s.
You
But
get
nothing
that
like
straight away because
color
of
grading.
That
I don't.
scene where they're basically drinking the what's the milk called again? It's milk plus.
Maloko
Maloko.
Drenko.
Obviously, it's that whole
Maloko
drugged up milk,
sits
so-
in. There's three different types. I think one is meant to be milk with amphetamine. One is meant to be, which obviously speeds you up. Milk with mescaline, synthetic mescaline, which will make you trip out. And
It's a bit
one-
like, is it UHF, semi-skimmed and full fat?
yeah, but a little bit.
Which
yeah, a
one do
little
you
bit more
prefer?
powerful.
I have
Yeah.
Cornish, basically full
Dense.
fat, and then a bit extra.
Put a bit of
It's
cream on top.
basically, it's very difficult to get the milk out because there's so much saturated cream on top. That's real milk.
Oh, nice.
Are we still talking about milk at this point?
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Maloko plus, yeah. So it's basically, it's interesting. It's like, I think in one of the interviews Burgess does, he talks about it like people in his imagination, like people couldn't buy alcohol. So the way around it was these bars would sell the disguised milk, disguised the kind of drugs mixed with the milk, and their kids would be allowed to use it because it's not. I guess it's like these recreational research chemicals nowadays. You can buy all sorts of weird drugs off the internet that are deregulated or de-restricted because they've never
Can you,
been
Stuart?
classified.
Would you like to explain a bit more about that?
I wouldn't know anything about this myself, but this is definitely somebody who definitely isn't me. Told me about it once.
I've got a friend who's a friend of a friend.
I've got a friend of a friend of a friend who's researching these things for academic purposes. Anyway, but yeah, I think that was the idea of it. So it was quite ahead of its time that he was thinking. Like, I think he was basically Burgess was trying to show that there's this innate need within society that people just want to get off their heads, and these kids were finding around it. So you can't necessarily blame the kids themselves for what they were doing if society was serving up or kind of under the kind of counter, under the radar, they were allowed to go and get hold of these things, which obviously
Well, it's a recurrent theme, isn't it? Again, because I can't get out of my head, you've got Matt Damon on his lotus flowers. It's the same old, isn't it?
Yep.
With the-
Interesting
the
point
sort
there
of
about
thing
the.
that-
Oh, go on.
Sorry.
No, go on, mate. You carry on.
I would say with the comment about ahead of its time, and what's interesting to me is that like it's set within that kind of golden age of horror, and like at that time you kind of you have like people being and acting violent, and in the way in which it's represented as we could call it hyper real, but it's kind of, I don't know, like to the genteel types or the upper class, like who've never been in a fight in their entire lives. It's sort of quite in your face, and it is in your face anyway. But
Yeah.
there's somewhat of a distance removed from the actual violence, and in that period, just as we kind of move into the secular age or a more secular age, you have these references to evil, and there's like a satanic, demonic pressure, like presence within these individuals, which is driving the reason why they're not just going to Sainsbury's and Next and whatever. And like in the modern day period, this is like echoed with psychotherapic type terminology, which is a new word that I've just made up. And it's it's
I know exactly
interesting
what you
because
mean.
people need to how you'd say
This is Dyslexic
they-
FM.
they need to but they don't spell that.
Sorry, Dyslexic MF.
Oh, I know what you mean.
But yeah, it's just interesting that like violence has to be kept away from us, and as a species, you can even argue like at anthropological level that might be something, because since the dawn of time we've gone from chucking rocks to chucking spears to shooting guns, cannons.
Well, that's 2001,
artillery,
isn't it? The opening.
missiles, and
that's where
then
it gets
you
it
get
from.
drones, which is crazy. I haven't seen that. I know.
I thought the opening of 2001 was Liverpool on a Friday night.
You obviously haven't been to the Plymouth Argyle Exeter Derby. Jesus.
The really hairy creature that he morphs into is one of my exes.
Talking about Moloko Plus, though, I think the modern day equivalent would be with Buckfast. If anyone's ever tried.
Oh,
Buckfast.
I Scottish.
They make it
Och,
down the
aye.
road from me.
Who's juice?
They make it literally 20 minutes from my house.
It is,
Yes,
yeah. It's,
I have tried it.
It's down the year, isn't it? Yeah, my God, I had some good nights on that when I was a teenager.
It leaves a lasting
Amphetamine,
impression.
wine, and sugar.
Yeah, it's hardcore.
Yeah, legal drugs for teenagers.
Lovely.
You even get a free weapon with it as well once you finish the bottle.
I think you turn into a free weapon, don't you? Jesus.
The receptacle becomes a free weapon.
Oh yeah.
Quickly trying to bring some intellectual gravitas to this. Another very specific example of how he improves upon it. If I can psychoanalyze Malcolm McDowell, you know, when he turns, because I remember seeing an interview where he said, again, it was when they decided to have the outfits the way they did with the cricket gear. But he said when he was doing the scene, you know, where there's the assault on the wife and husband, and when they're beating them up, he starts doing Singing in the Rain.
Yeah.
And there's the very catchy, every time he gets to a certain beat, he gives them a good kicking. But in the actual novel, I noticed, that's not in. But it is mentioned that Dim dances at one point with an umbrella. And it just struck me. I wonder whether that was in the subconscious or the recesses of Malcolm McDowell's mind when it gave him the idea to do Singing in the Rain.
Maybe.
Because it's in black and white in the book, and that is what Fred Astaire does. It was Fred Astaire, wasn't it, Singing in the Rain?
Yep.
The original.
Was
He's
it?
got an umbrella and he traipses away.
Was it Fred Astaire?
You think the Thames is square, so I'm going with Fred Astaire.
I've been there.
What, the square Thames?
Yeah,
Yeah.
every part of it. It's all square.
Was it Gene Kelly? Actually?
Gene Kelly, that's right.
That's
sorry.
Gene Kelly.
see.
Yeah.
Ah, well.
Gene Kelly. Gene Kelly. Another point I just wanted to bring up about McDowell. Obviously, he's 28 playing a 17-year-old, which can be a little bit weird.
15
He's
in the
15
book,
in the
I
novel, yeah.
Is it 15? I thought it was 17.
Yeah, and,
No, he's
and all
15.
the girls that get the old in out, I think are like 10 or
Like
11
10,
as well.
yeah,
so-
8, 10.
Yeah.
Right, quickly moving on. Before
Quickly
we get
moving on.
taken off.
So the whole point I was going to say is that in itself kind of gives you an aesthetic in itself. You think, well, this person's supposed to be a teenager. He's obviously nearly 30. And so when he does that whole thing where he breaks down with his parents tell him off at one point in one scene, him crying, it kind of even adds to that strange aesthetic that's just through the whole film, doesn't it? You know,
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like the writer is that the writer whose wife gets outed.
Food all right.
Singing in the Rain. Yeah, I just love the bit when he goes to the house towards the end of the film. He goes back to the house. He's like basically muscly, like steroid Joe 90. Carries him on the wheelchair like down the stairs. It's just so weird and surreal. And in that specific house, it's so weirdly futuristic. That house, the way Kubrick, the camera pans from the library. It's like kind of a tracking shot, and then it zooms in, and it's just this very muscly guy with Joe 90 glasses bringing him down the stairs. It's just weird. It just has not aged because it's so.
Was
good.
the brains from Thunderbirds? He had glasses like that, didn't he? Hello,
He looks
Mr.
like him,
Tracy.
Yeah.
He's David Prowse. He plays Darth Vader.
Yes.
No way.
That's
Yes,
actually
I
the
did know
guy,
that.
Yeah.
That's
And
insane.
he trained.
Cornish he was.
Was it Richard Reeve, the first Superman? He actually trained.
Yeah,
him
the
as
guy
well.
the guy broke his back. Yeah.
Have you ever
I think
heard
he'd,
the
like,
original
done his
Darth
shoulder
Vader
in.
types?
So-
Have you ever
No,
heard
I
that?
haven't.
That it's brilliant because he's such a thick Cornish accent. Here, my booty. I'm your father. It's brilliant. You can watch it on YouTube. It's absolutely
No
brilliant.
way.
It's brilliant.
No way. It learns something new every day.
Absolutely brilliant. And then he was really annoyed while James Earl Jones got the part over him as well. It's like, come on, mate.
Yeah. Well, the original Predator, Arnold Schwarzenegger Predator, it was meant to be what's his name? Muscles from Brussels, Jean-Claude Van Damme in
Van
a
Damme.
cockroach costume. That was the
Yeah.
original Predator, and they'd realized it was so crappy. They were just like, no, we need a new monster. This is just stupid.
I can't think of Jean-Claude Van Damme without thinking of that picture of him in that nightclub.
Yeah,
was
can I
that?
just
Google it.
read
Just
to?
Google
I know you hate focusing on the
It's
text.
Please go ahead, Paul.
Bring some text up on screen or
Pure old
something.
people.
Let's get back to what we're actually
Get your
supposed to be
text
talking about.
out for the lads.
Get your text out, lad. Go on. Oh, yeah, go on. Give me
Before
Get
I
your
do,
first edition.
James, before I
Right.
do, when
Yes.
Ryan went all French for a moment and he mentioned jouissance, would you say jouissance, please, in your best Barry White voice?
Barry White. Jouissance.
Oh, I
Oh,
felt
that
that in
was-
my soul.
That was for Dolla's mum. I think she's melted now.
Dollars mum.
Yeah. I have it on good authority that Dolla's mum really likes your voice.
Oh.
For some reason, people don't like Mardy Ringo Starr voices, so that's the cross I've borne through life.
I'm still working on my Paul accent. There we go. Nailed it.
Clockwork orange.
Clockwork.
Clockwork, lad, go ahead, lad.
Coke and a curly
Clockwork. Clockwork.
Oh,
orange.
right.
It
I'll
means
see you down Lime Street.
That's not fair.
It's not fair.
Right.
Sweet.
Right, so, but this is, I think this is Alex speaking. He says, but brothers, this biting of their toenails over what is the cause of badness is what turns me into a fine, laughing Malchick. They don't go into what is the cause of goodness or why of the other shop. If Ludi's people are good, that's because they like it, and I would never interfere with their pleasures, and so of the other shop. And I was patronising the other shop. More badness is of the self, the one, the you, or me, on our old knockies, and that self is made by old bog or god, and is his great pride and radosti, joy. Radosti. How would you pronounce it in Russian?
Radosty.
Radosti.
Radosti.
No, there aren't Cornish people in Russia. Stop being silly,
Radosti.
James. But the not self cannot have the bad meaning. They of the government and the judges and the schools cannot allow the bad because they cannot allow the self. And it is not our modern history, my brothers, the story of brave Malenki selves fighting these big machines. I'm serious with you, brothers, over this. But what I do because I like to do. But I can't get over that, the not self. It's what I said earlier about governments or whatever stripe are increasingly, there isn't genuine individuality allowed in our society. It's the authorities trying to get rid, the not self. And given that when this was written, I think it's incredibly prescient.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's always been. If you think back to Adorno, Horkheimer, instrumentality as well, it's always been this kind of, for people in power, it's a will to domination, and that domination can take different forms. I think, is it B.F. Skinner, the Skinner box, the pigeon guy? So I think was it Beyond Freedom and Dignity? I think came out in 1971, just before this had come out, and obviously Skinner was a very controversial figure in psychology, because he was this idea of free will. He was really against it. He basically believed we were instrumental beings. We just reacted to things like animals, and therefore we could be corrected. And I think governments have always had different, or people in power have always had different methods of control. But this idea that you can control without violence, you can just control people because they're mechanistic things, like where the whole idea of a Clockwork Orange comes from.
So there's a
Now we
theory-
see that.
Sorry.
Go ahead.
No, finish your point.
Ryan.
Sorry. Oh, no.
So I think my point is, now we see the absolute end point of this with digital culture and digital society. Like now we have this digital oligarchy, this tech bro oligarchy. They have the absolute perfect mechanisms now through algorithms that you are basically controlling yourself through the use of algorithms, the use of computers, digital media. It's like you don't even need somebody to think, I'm going to create a system, a Ludovico technique or whatever, or a Skinner's idea, we'll have techniques to stop people doing things. It's like you just do it automatic yourself. So it is like the Skinner box. I can't remember the exact experiment he did, but it's like, I think it was pigeons got electric shocks in boxes. If they touched a button or picked something, then they would get electrocuted, and then they learned not to do that. So it wasn't that they had free will. It wasn't that they were choosing to do it. The pigeon was just like, I'm not going to touch that because I'm going to get an electric shock. And I think now we just get a very insidious version with algorithms. And
well, I got electrocuted last time I made a video that didn't mention Christopher Nolan.
It's a digital panopticon, isn't it? That's what you're.
It is, yeah, and it's interesting. I think Foucault's Discipline and Punishment that came out around the same time as well. This idea that you need an impression or a construction of the bad in order to justify the normal normalization. You need to say, okay, this is what you're not going to be, and this is what we're going to change it to. And it's interesting to argue for the importance of evil or the importance of badness in that sense. But I think it's interesting that Burgess gets this from Catholicism. He gets this from Christian thinkers hundreds of years before people like Foucault started writing about it.
So you were saying something earlier before Stuart rudely cut you off, Ryan.
Go on, Ryan.
Go on, Ryan.
Go on, Ryan.
Not wishing to put you on the spot or embarrass Stuart. It's not that's not what I'm about.
It's definitely not.
It's interesting what you were saying about, like, you've got individual identities which are kind of, you can almost get off the shelf and they're kind of shot bought. So the sort of the great nephew of Sigmund Freud was a guy called Edward Bernays. There's a Bernays reader book that you can get all of his books in one. It's fascinating. In there are things like manufacturing consent, I think, is one of them. Propaganda is another, and they very much sort of lent into this idea of commodities and branding certain things to the American psyche prior to the financial crash. I think it was in the 20s. This was seen to take off, but it was pushed back against to a degree because this had sort of been blamed. This was the scapegoat for what kind of got people, it resulted in the crash. But Goebbels in Germany employed a lot of the sort of the methods that Bernays had put about, and effectively that his work was predicated on Freud's, which is that you do have that human beings are driven by impulses and societies, rather than logic and reason. And Daniel Kahneman's written a number of books about this, as well as like Jonathan Haidt. You can, list goes on about people emoting first and then justifying the reason for what they're doing after, and that kind of like plays into Alex's character. It's a bit like you two have got kids, like, when you ask your kid, why did you do the thing, setting fire to the house? Or
Ryan, was this just public shaming of me, was it? Go on.
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
Let's name all the people on the panel who don't have kids, who have genetic asbos forbidding them. Go on. I don't care. Go on.
I'm actually all for that.
But you ever ask them, like, why did you do the thing? And the answer is always, I don't know.
Sometimes they don't know.
You demand the reason, but they don't know. Because they're acting on impulse.
I'm telling you, my 4-year-old does not do that, mate. He's got essays to back up why he does every little thing, and it's always because I wanted
pre-planned.
James, did you have a really intelligent milkman?
I think it's a lady, actually.
Was it? All right. Surrogate.
No comment.
Right.
I come on here and you're always casting aspersions on my family life.
Ryan, you didn't mention Bernays' biggest contribution to Western culture, which was his brilliant sauce.
I was going to say,
it is a great sauce.
It's not mayonnaise, it's mustard.
It is. It's the best, because black pepper sauce is too strong. Peppercorn, it's too much. But Bernays with a good ribeye, it complements the fat brilliantly.
Every time I come in here, you're always talking about complementing the fat.
Yeah,
I'm
but
just
the
saying.
problem is I'm a bit depressed because I'm about to have a venison steak when I get off this, and venison doesn't have a lot of fat.
Bit
But
gamey.
I compensate by thinking I'm eating Bambi's mother, so that cheers me up.
Yeah, just have it raw.
Soft
Blood.
and juicy.
You'll be fine.
Right. Well, I was going to say, can we just discuss go back to, because we skated over it. It was probably Stuart's fault.
Yes,
The issue about the ending and whether it's
Yes.
better with or without the epilogue. I just noticed it's on, not that it matters, but it's the second page of chapter 5 in my edition. When this is Alex. Oh, I had an ingrin at that. Pa. He says papa. Papa. Anyway, believing I had. There's an extra.
And I
there's an
digress.
extra.
Rewind.
There's an extra.
We'll edit that in post production.
No, it's like saying papa with Tourette's. Pa. Believing I had. It's spelt P-A-P-A-P-A. Pa would have been the easiest way to say it. Believing-
Talking about that Bernays sauce all over again.
This is like one of the shortest sentences that's suddenly become Proustian.
Get on with it. As one
I'd like to. Pa.
Stop parping and get on with it.
Believing I had real reformed, or believing he believed. So in chapter 5, there's an early pointer to the idea that he hadn't reformed at all, which I think is an echo of what happens at the end. It's a presentiment. I think he's just scamming us at the end.
Absolutely, I think he is. Yeah.
That's perfectly
But
summed up by the film
what's
as well, isn't it? That line
interesting-
that ends the film.
It ends the film, but what's interesting is that his fantasy at the end, when he's cavorting with the Devochka at the end, he's surrounded by the bourgeoisie, well-to-dos. They're all kind of clapping at him like this. It's almost like he's found at the end, because obviously his relationship with the politician is literally feeding him and now supporting him. He's found a way to do what he likes to do. Within
pelvic
polite
thrusting?
society. Pelvic thrusting with the
His pelvic
vodka.
thrusting is being applauded.
It's almost like he's found a way to do it within polite society. If that's what I mean. So he's got what he wants. He's played the system. He's cured. He's free. But he can do what he does under the radar, if that makes any sense. That's what I got from it. It's not just that he's back to his old, imagining himself beating up Jesus and all this, dreaming of vampires and really, the ultra violence. He's basically worked out, hey, I can do this. And it got me thinking about, links to politicians, people like Epstein and things like that. It's like there's a class of people who are protected by the upper echelons of society that can get away with absolute terrible things.
Now then. I don't know what you mean.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly.
Perfect haircut for that.
Yeah. Can you tell? Can you tell what it is? Yeah. All the things we've covered on the channel before, Paul, at your insistence.
It's doing the weird zoomy thing as well on the laugh. God, it's the perfect evil laugh.
That's right. That is the evil laugh cam. That zooms in and just surrounds it.
I'm really annoyed though, because it wasn't until later in life that I looked like Harold Shipman. But I've tried a party, you turn up at parties imitating him, and I've had no bookings.
Oh no.
It's a shame.
So life gives and life takes away.
It does.
Is
I
what
don't
I've
think he's
learned
in-
from this.
Yeah, I don't think he's in vogue anymore. If you're gonna do serial
Yeah.
killer party favors, then you need to think of someone who's in vogue.
Right.
It's probably not go down that road.
No. Yeah.
But yes, I would say
Shipman's
to mirror your point there, Stuart, is that obviously the writer, I can't think of the character's name. Food all right, that one.
yeah.
So he's obviously
politically aligned, the writer.
Yeah,
Lefty,
so-
the writer. Yeah.
So yeah, he's very left wing, isn't he?
That's
And very accommodating to treating people with kindness and not susceptible, not subjecting them to the. Oh God, I'm sorry, it's so hot in here. My brain's gone blank. What's the Levetsky? Ludovico. Yeah, he's dead against that until he realizes that who Alex is and what Alex did to him, and then he flips on that, and that's obviously a comment on, it's all well and good. We've got it here in this country about immigration. There's a whole row going on, and obviously people, sort of upper middle class people going, yeah, immigration's fine, immigration's great, just not where I live.
Just not in our
you know.
neighbourhoods yet.
Exactly. So it's that whole thing, isn't it? Of that bourgeoisie, and all that planetariat nonsense.
Yep, that's true.
Back to you.
Ryan, would you like to comment on
Ryan,
that?
we think you should try and excavate any sense in what James just said, and good luck.
It wasn't that bad.
I'd say
big
no
brain.
comment. But yeah, like there's something that, like, further to the point I made before about, like, it's kind of like what's acceptable to be, like, what's accepted violence, and that the power of the state is it's such a power that Alex doesn't really have any, in his adolescent violence, his destruction. There's a sort of naivety to it, a kind of innocence about it. He's just acting on impulse effectively, although like a lot of the stuff that he does is quite calculated. But when he's about to go to experience the Ludovic Go technique, he's in a room and he's quite innocently asked her, "Oh, is it just like video in some films like?" And it's like, "Yes, that's exactly what we're going to do." And and it's just completely indicative of his character, that and I think the message that Burgess is trying to portray, that Kubrick does brilliantly, which is that there are bigger fish in the sea, so to speak. So like, and again, this was very influential by what was going on within the Cold War, the sort of the setting backdrop, if you like, all this is going on is the distrust, which is where the Ludovic Go technique comes in. These are things that were
MK
real-life
Ultra as well,
experiments.
or the CIA experiments. Yeah,
100%. Yeah, and in Britain as well, like, you had like thousands of volunteers that thought they were signing up to cure the common cold, and then they were given LSD and various other electroshock therapy and stuff. And this is all open source; people can go and look it up for themselves. But it's interesting because it's a lot of the stuff mirrored what was going on in the USSR, which is a guy called Alexei Gastev, and he had this whole kind of like scientific vision of like what a proper socialist technocratic industrial state would run like. And Stalin even like ordered the building of this city in like Siberia, which was modeled on a US town. I think it's in Detroit, or a city in Detroit, and it's called Gary. It's the most unimaginative
Isn't that
name
Gary,
ever, but then again,
Indiana?
this is-
Yeah.
There's
I don't know
a
what
Gary
state
in
it's in.
Indiana. There might be more than one.
It's also a character
so
in
yeah,
Only Fools and
it's
Horses.
Yeah.
but the sort of the obsession that Gastev has for this managerial efficient state, the name for it's quite apt. It's Taylorism.
There you go.
So and I'm going to butcher the pronunciation of the author. Is it Zamyatins who wrote?
Oh,
We?
Zamyatin. Yeah, he wrote We.
So We is supposed to be a parody of Gastev and the work that he was
That's
trying
interesting.
to do. But again, it speaks right to this point of you're trying to manufacture what's reality and what isn't reality, and in a it doesn't matter what cloth you cut from, you can always justify the violence that's done and agree to the proportionality of it. And it's if you look into the history of polling, so like the history of polling is effectively, like, to go back to Bernays, what he did was release a number of polls simultaneously, like flooding the zone, that were published, and it was experts tell you that eating bacon at breakfast is good for you. Breakfast is the most important meal of the day, and these are things which after time become part of the status quo, so they're never questioned.
Yeah.
And the calorific deficit at breakfast was largely because people had moved away from doing heavy lifting type roles into the more Fordish type industrial type careers that people went into.
I think he was,
And
sorry to interrupt,
so
but I think he was
this went down
active. He was active in Scotland as well, where he promulgated the idea that deep fat food is healthy.
Yeah, well, very probably.
And that was very successful propaganda, but apologies. Anyway, carry on.
But one of the things that he did do was convince women to smoke. And if you, like, again, look into logistics, it sounds crazy, like, but the head of a tobacco company needed to make smoking socially acceptable to women because this is like 50% of his market. And how do we do this? And there was a feminist movement at the time, and what he got them to do was market these things as liberty sticks. And this coincided with a parade. I forget which city it's in, but a major parade whereby all these women were in sync, going to spark up a cigarette and start to smoke. So effectively convinced generations of people to smoke, and that it was good for them, and all the rest of it. The list goes on, like banana republics, like literally where the term banana republic comes from. It's drumming up support for coups that take place in Guatemala.
Was the United Fruit Company?
Exactly, yeah. So I think it's like, I don't want to say actually what the name of it is, just in case I get done, but like it's it ends in ass, put it that way. It's probably an apt way to describe it, but it's a famous type of banana, and making bananas a part of the American breakfast was largely down to bernays. And it's on a slightly tangential point, but I think is relevant is this concept of like every idea that you have, that I have, that everybody has, is fundamentally somebody else's idea, and there's a certain buy-in that people get or give to a certain aesthetic of what the idea looks like, which I think is linked into status, which is captured brilliantly within the book, because Alex, you see him, he thinks he's above his station, and to an extent he is, because he kind of, is it bathos where probably misused that, it's like he personifies high and low culture, and ultimately what happens to him is like he learns the limits of his power, but then does he? I don't think he ever does, because he goes to prison, then he gets beaten up when he's in there, then he goes in the Ludovico technique, and then after that he still has the desire to do the things that he wants to do. So I find it fascinating how the kind of lies we tell ourselves, the Dunning-Kruger effect, it's very much alive and with us all. But
the one that always freaks me out is trout pout. The way women get, or a certain demographic get, that their lips are made to look like a plunger.
Yeah.
And you've ruined it.
Betty.
You've ruined it. Yeah, you've ruined it. It's like, what have you done? It's like slapping God across the face.
I can do that shit, but you put your bottom lid on. Oh.
I'm getting aroused, Stuart. Stop it.
Thought you would do. Oh, James did a good one. James, do that one again. Yeah.
It's like in Red Dwarf, isn't it, when they put the
the
camera upside down.
Planet Tarkadal. That's one of my favorite episodes. That.
What a way to like completely butcher that beautifully eloquent point that was just raised.
No, but to be serious for a second, trout pout is inexplicable other than it's one of these weird socially engineered memes. Who in their right mind would look permanently startled crossed with a trout?
No.
It makes no sense whatsoever.
Well, it's that whole Ozempic thing as well. Like that's like you say, slap the face of God, all right. I mean, the way that these women, what they do to their faces, and already with Botox, but now this is like the next
Well, forget
level,
the faces. Ozempic, I'll tell you now, that's a future generation mass epidemic of pancreatic cancer. I guarantee anyone who's on that's got their pancreas is worse than my liver on Guinness. Let's put it that way.
Yeah. Well, it's the whole vaping and smoking debate, isn't it?
Well, no.
Well, it is. Is it healthier? No, not really. It still messes you up. Still just as addictive.
No, vaping, yeah, but vaping is not existentially worse than smoking. It's probably slightly less bad. I think Ozempic, having pancreatic cancer is probably worse than being overweight. I'm suggesting.
I don't know.
Like shit, Tom.
Idiot.
Fortunately, you've got a card.
Got to get beach ready. You know what I mean?
Speaking as someone on Ozempic and who's overweight, I've got all the bases covered.
Pre-order your replacement pancreas. Pancreas arrows. Comes direct from China. Don't ask any questions.
Well, there goes my chance of having the channel sponsored by Ozempic. You've just ruined it all for me. Thanks, lads.
Oh,
sorry.
Never mind.
For your own good.
Yeah, you
No, I
invited
think
me
given
for a reason, did you not?
given the way that we all currently look, I think our best chance of getting a major sponsorship deal is Stuart and a hairspray company.
Yeah, Brill Cream.
No, your Buffon.
No. Yeah.
Your
Definitely
Buffon
not.
is crying out to be kept
Oh,
forevermore. It's
Soul
like Edgar
Glow.
Allan Poe, forevermore, forevermore. Your raven black Buffon.
Some of that
Oh,
Forevermore.
Soul Glow from
Yeah.
changing. What was it? Moving to America? No, Coming to America. Soul Glow.
What was that? Yeah, what was that? I was thinking about that. Yeah, what was that? What was that spray called? That in the 80s and 90s, it was that advert for the spray, the hairspray.
Soul Glow?
maybe,
I don't know, mate. To be honest.
maybe it's still me.
It's
Right,
just-
2 quick points. One is I found it quite interesting and funny that when he finds his ex-droogs, I then joined the police.
Yeah.
In my school, when I left sixth form, nearly the worst behaved people in my whole school, almost to a man, joined the police.
Yeah.
Which was actually useful in a sense because A, they were psychopathic and prone to violence. B, most of them played rugby and were physically brutal. And it just interests me that in the modern time, they've replaced that policy with 4'7" thin women. And in America, who can't even put a gun back in its holster when the president's being attacked. But anyway, I'm just pointing out the way in which this state monopoly on power has gone in a completely different direction. And what else was I going to say? Oh, does anyone else know a book that ends, given in the final word of the epilogue is Cal, which is his slang for feces? And I'm not aware of another book that ends with such a wonderful word or equivalent. There was a guy called Timothy Moe. This is just trivia. Brown out on Breadfruit Boulevard. He was a Commonwealth Literary Award winner, and he wrote a book, and it begins with a German professor with I'm trying to think of a posh way of saying it, but with a certain fetish that involved a young Malaysian, I think it was, woman defecating on his chest. So that's one of the worst openings to a novel I can think of. But I can't think of one that actually ends with the word Cal. But then, given this is over to you, Stu, this is your expertise, being a Marquis de Sade aficionado.
Yeah, just as you're speaking, I'm just looking through my PDFs of Marquis de Sade to see what 128 days ends with. I'm trying to find it. I'll tell you now, because remember it was the last chapter is infamous for not being finished. How's it end?
Jobby.
Merde.
No, it just says 37 days. By means of a pipe, they introduce a mouse into her. The pipe is withdrawn. They saw the and the animal, unable to escape, devours her intestines. There we go. That's the last page.
See what you did there.
Right,
Definitely getting demonetized now.
Why did I give him that? I was going to say opening, but let's not go there. Why did I give him that opportunity? Ryan's got this patented look on his face. This wasn't a wise decision. I recognise that face. That is a face I've seen on many dates back in the day.
I could feel the regret through the screen.
I'm saying nothing.
Well, that's also
Yeah.
one of the things I recognise from past dates.
Saying nothing.
Silence and a look of self-disgust.
It's better than you getting a knock on the door and there's like a restraining order. Like, I suppose that'd be worse, wouldn't it?
No, he's had that as well.
Right, I think we've talked ourselves into trouble, finally.
Well, we did that after about 30 seconds, didn't we?
I can't believe Stuart's
It's been an hour
actually...
and 20 minutes.
Stuart's invited me to do a Marquis de Sade discussion. Can you imagine how long that will stay on before the police
Yeah.
are at the door?
Well, to be honest, it's gonna have to go on like a Patreon channel or something like that. You know, it's gonna
Can you
one of these.
imagine? Can you imagine the dirty Mac-wearing brigade that would pay to see you and me discuss the Marquis de Sade?
Oh, no. Well, yeah, I mean
That is a niche audience I do not want to meet. Ugh.
There's a really good cinema channel.
Oh yes,
like
please is the
like
comment that
stories
just dropped
of old.
after that. By the way,
Yeah, we got a fan already.
You
But
got
there's
one.
there's a really good cinema channel, and he's just done a video on the male gaze, reassessing the male gaze, and it's in the best taste possible. It's just really so well done.
Kenny Everett.
And he got not
in
Kenny
the best
Everett,
possible taste.
the best possible taste, and it got taken down by YouTube after like a couple of hours, and he's just said, "Well, there's no swearing in it. There's no like full nudity in it. It's just discussing a topic that's obviously a hot topic." And he's done it in a tasteful way, and it's got taken down. So yeah, the 128 Days of Sodom, YouTube's not going to allow that.
Stu, what was Kenny Everett that drag act he did in the best possible taste? What was the name? Because it was a very funny name.
What was the name of it? I'll find out.
that's gonna do my head in.
It was a rhyme with "uck," I'm sure. There was some play on words.
Yeah, what was it? I've got the picture of it now.
In the best possible taste.
Cupid Stunt.
That was
That's
like
the
Cupid
one.
Stunt, right? There you
Cupid
go.
Stunt. Yeah, that's the one. Great act.
One of my people.
Yeah.
Right, well, that's wonderful. I think we've hit all the bases. I think Stanley Kubrick would be proud of us.
Can I just say that the viewers went up by 10 as soon as we started talking about Marquis de Sade?
Yes,
you've
but to
clearly got
repeat,
SBA.
Stuart, it's not about numbers for their own sake, says the man who keeps mentioning Christopher Nolan like someone with cinematic Tourette's. But it's the quality of the audience, and the Marquis de Sade, I'm guessing, does not bring well-adjusted non-basement dwellers out into daylight.
No, but you got to give the audience what it wants, Paul.
Yeah, well. Right, everybody, that was, to quote the eternal Cilla Black, a Laura fun. A big thank you to Ryan, despite the fact he looks traumatised.
That's just
See
how
you
I
next week. We'll be back.
See you
won't
next
you?
week.
thought. Thank you.
Let's see who else we can give PTSD to. Ta-da, everyone.
Bye, guys.
Thank you. Bye bye. Bye bye.
See you soon.